Hi, so it's Sunday the 29th of March, and we've now been in quarantine here where I live in Mallorca for over 2 weeks. We've been in quarantine since the 13th of March. And it's surprising how quickly you get used to these things, how a new routine develops, and the days that at the beginning, at the start, the first few days just seemed endlessly long because there was nothing to break them up. And then you develop a new routine, and suddenly you have a new timetable, and the day is broken up perfectly. And in fact, I'm actually finding that there aren't enough hours in the day suddenly all over again. And so I'm having to rethink what fits in where and what I'd like to achieve in a day. I think I spent so much time at the beginning trying to work out how to fill the day with all of the extended hours that now there are so many things that I would like to do each day that they don't fit in. And also I think I spent a lot of time avoiding the day, so keeping myself busy and productive doing things like cleaning and exercise, and chatting with people, that I wasn't actually sitting quiet inside my head very much, which prior to all of this, I would spend most of my day sitting inside my head, being creative in some way or another, which means going inside, being silent and allowing what wants to come forward. And I've avoided that throughout this process so far, because what wants to come forward isn't very comfortable. And a spiritual person, I've been really uncomfortable with those emotions, because they've made me doubt myself, and they've made me doubt how far I am along the spiritual path. And I guess I've questioned my authenticity, and my capability of helping other people at the moment. Because I feel like the foundations of my faith and my belief system have crumbled somewhat over the last 2 weeks, and that's been a real struggle for me. And it wasn't until I was listening to, I watched daily updates from certain people on what's going on in the world, and I've chosen my mentors throughout this time who are knowledgeable, grounded, and informed, and people whose advice I trust. And a lot of those people have actually been doctors, doctors who are already like on the social media scene, doctors who are alternative doctors, functional medicine doctors. So I kind of believe more about what they're saying than other sources, perhaps. And one of them was talking several days ago about this thing called anticipatory grief. And he explains that at the moment, a lot of people, if not all of us, are grieving the life that we previously had. And we're going through the 5 stages of grief. And we're having different responses to our circumstances. So there are 5 stages, if I can remember them all. So one of them is denial. And I think a lot of people are in denial. Like most of the people that I know are in denial, and they just don't want to talk about what's happening. They just want to be happy, watching their movies and doing their yoga. And I understand that completely, because I've spent a lot of time recently watching my movies and doing my yoga, because it really helps to just bury my head in the sand and embrace that escapism. But also one has to be grounded, and one has to be aware of what's going on and acknowledge it and take it in and process it and think upon it, so we're prepared and we can move forwards. Because at the beginning of this, we were told here 2 weeks quarantine. It's not going to be 2 weeks quarantine. Now it's been extended another 2 weeks, so it's going to be a month's quarantine. And realistically, I think it's going to go on for a lot longer than that. And the question is, how long will we be in quarantine? Will we ever not be in quarantine? Will we be taken care of throughout this process the whole way through, or not? Nobody really knows what's coming. So nobody really knows what to prepare for. And as much as I'd like to just stick my head in the sand and embrace the moment and enjoy it, and learn how to do new things, and take a bit of a holiday from life, I feel I can't do that because it would be irresponsible to myself and my own life, and also irresponsible to the people that I care about deeply and that care about me, the people who are in my soul family. And so one of the stages of this grieving is denial, and I think I've moved through denial pretty quickly. I'm not even sure if I have been in it at all, but we dip in and out of these different phases. So maybe I spend a little bit of time in denial each day, but for the most part, I'm in different places. So there's anger, and the next one is anger. A lot of people are very angry at Corona, angry at the system, angry at the situation, angry at being locked in their homes, angry at losing their jobs, angry at not being able to work, angry at not having any toilet paper, or not being able to find what you want in the supermarket because there's hardly anything on the shelves, not being able to go to the beach or go on holiday or go and have dinner with their friends. A lot of people are really, really angry about that, which I totally understand. And then there is anger, denial. One of them I cannot remember, I think. I admit that now. One of them I don't remember. There's grief. Grief is a big one for me. I have spent a lot of time in grief the last 2 weeks, grieving for the world. I am overwhelmed by sadness at the moment. The collective grief is just weighing really heavily on me, and I can feel it all around, all the time. And I feel really, really sad at life as I knew it, as we all knew it, that a life that wasn't perfect by any means, a life that had many, many problems, a life that there were many things in life before this happened that already scared me and upset me and bugged me, and that made me feel powerless and helpless, and that caused me to question whether I really wanted to be here even. Because it all just seemed so hard and so pointless, because there was no way to win against the system that was pitted against us and rigged to be that way. But I still had joy, and there were still things that I loved to do, and there was still that connection to each other, one another, and the planet, and that was really important to me. And I felt safe within the structure of it, even though all around me there was danger that I was conscious of, that was very real to me in my personal life, as an individual. Not imagined danger, real danger. But it was okay, because it was a danger that I was familiar with and that I had grown up with and then come to become aware of. So it wasn't a shock. It didn't just come at me from the side. Whereas this, because I don't generally follow the news. I haven't watched the news for 12, 13 years by choice. I chose to opt out because it was just too much. It was too heavy, it was too aggressive, it was too anger fueled, it was too sensationalist, and it wasn't the right energy for me, and so I elected out of it. And I rely on friends and family to give me little tidbits of information about what's going on in the world, but only stuff that I really need to know. So I don't want to know about all of the disasters and things and the deaths and tragedies. Only if I need to know do I get told. I've asked not to be told about these things. And good things, I'm happy to hear those. But so I've kind of done as many other people have done, as opted out. But this situation has forced me to opt back in again. Not to the extent where I sit and watch the news all day, every day. Heavens no, that would just crush me completely. I couldn't. But coming from a viewpoint of like, I'm not a person who can handle the news anyway on a good day. Like it crushes me to a certain extent. So having to handle the news right now, because I think it would be irresponsible not to be aware of what's going on around, because then without that awareness, one can't be careful and one can't prepare. Like if I didn't keep up with what's going on, then I wouldn't know what I am and not allowed to do right now, because I rely on local networks and news sources to tell me, oh, you cannot leave your house, you can only go to the supermarket and back again, and only one person per household is allowed to do this. I wouldn't know these details if it wasn't for that news source and those networks. And also I wouldn't know about how to wash your hands properly, or keeping the house clean, and what cleaning solutions to use, what works and what doesn't work, whether one has to wash one's produce, one's clothing, one's hair, after one goes out. All little details like this are vital to getting through this in one piece and remaining healthy and not being affected by it. And so I have to dip into these news sources to figure out these things. And now it's like I need to figure out how to make a mask to keep my partner safe when he goes out, and also for me, if for some reason we need to leave our apartment. And so these things make it very, very real. And they tell me things that I don't necessarily want to hear. Like, I don't necessarily want to know the numbers of people who are sick and the numbers of people who are dying and which way the curve is going, and what's happening in hospitals and how temporary morgues are being set up in stadiums, etc., etc. I mean, I don't want to know these things. It's terrifying and it's tragic, and it's just incomprehensible that this has happened here in this world that I live in. This is it's just the most shocking thing to me. I just did not see it coming, and I still don't know how to process it. It's too big. It's far too big for me to process right now, and I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling to believe that it's true, to believe that it's really that dangerous, that we can't go outside, to believe that this virus is really that serious, that if we get it, we might die. I mean, I don't know how to process that information. And it doesn't seem real when you're cooped up in an apartment and you can't go outside because you have no real connection with the world. So you're basing your information and your belief system on digital sources. Like not even a real person in the room with you, so you can't sense the energy of it. It's just print or a person talking on a video, and it's very, very different. And the energy outside is just an energy of grief and an energy of fear, and so you can't really read anything from that. And so it's confusing because I don't know which of these horror stories are true and which aren't. What information is exaggerated and what information isn't. And in trying to research so that I have an awareness of what's going on so that I can protect myself and my family, I am also being exposed to all of this other stuff that I don't necessarily want or need to read, but which is just in there as part of it as I have to go sifting through to pull out the bits and pieces that I need. And so the emotion that I have been suffering from most heavily is not denial or anger, although there have been little bits of that, for sure, and I own that completely. It's grief, just grief. Just, I found myself breaking down and sobbing just all of a sudden, all over the place, pretty much every day. In quiet moments, like I think I'm fine, and then I stop for a while, and then it overtakes me. Or I'm fine, but then I pick up my phone and I go through Facebook and I'm looking at what's going on in the local group, for the island, and read the different news sources and the things that people who are working in the hospitals, the doctors and nurses are kind of like saying. And it overwhelms me again. And then there's fear of what's coming in the future, fear of the unknown, fear of having no control, of being powerless, of not being able to stop this impending doom, perceived doom, this impending death of society as we know it, as the world as we know it. And my fear's been pretty great too. My fear's been intense because it's that having no control. We like to think we have control over our lives and over our world, our little world. We like to think that nobody can take that away from us, that it's ours. And then this whole situation has just shown us that actually we have no power and we have no control. And just like that, someone can take it away from us. They can change the rules on us, and we didn't get given a choice. We didn't get to vote or sign anything. It just happens behind our backs. And then gets rolled out and we're told. And suddenly, we're under military law, and if we get caught going out, then we'll be arrested and fined. And, where the heck did that come from? There's a lot of fear too, and fear of getting the virus and of falling ill and of, feeling horrific for days and weeks and even dying, and fear of people that you love being affected by this virus and getting ill and feeling horrific for days and weeks and even dying. Fear of so many innocent people, so many elderly people, so many single people who are alone already getting sick and going through that experience on their own with no one to take care of them, no one even knowing about it because we're all behind closed doors, and then those people dying alone. Fear of the people who are in hospitals who have been separated from loved ones because their loved ones are not allowed anywhere near them, who are sick and scared and dying alone with no comfort, no touch. Fear of the fact that these people, when they die, are then being thrown in mass morgue sites because there is no space for them anywhere else, and we can't hold funerals because it's dangerous and we're not allowed to get together. All of these things are just crazy, crazy things that have not happened in our lifetime if we are of a certain age. I have not been through a war before or a major disaster or anything like this. It's not in my mind. I don't have it in there as something that I can process or understand or know how to deal with, and I don't know how to get with this new way of life and be okay with it if this new way of life is the way of life from now onwards, and what we had before will never exist. What if I can't ever go to the beach again and walk on the sand? What if I can't ever go for a swim in the sea or a swimming pool? What if I can't meet up with my friends in the local cafe? What if I can't go shopping to the local department store and, browse their haberdashery section and buy new supplies for my sewing and my knitting? And, what if I can't ever go to a clothes store again, get a haircut, go see my dentist? What if I can't take my dog to the vet? What if I can't go for a doctor's appointment? All of these things have been put on hold with no warning, no time to prepare. It's not like we got to stock up. All of these things have just been put on hold indefinitely. What are we meant to do about that? These are things that scare me, that I worry about. I have a very sick dog. who prior to this has needed regular vet visits and hospital visits and medications and, you know, appointments with specialists and things. And right now we're just flying blind with her. And that's really scary, and it's a huge responsibility. And, you know, she's been really ill for the last few days and acting really differently and really disengaged and really sad. Like, she's been grieving her life, and she's been really confused and you know, like for 3 days just, she couldn't even really walk. She kept falling over, and she was just scared and making herself fall over. And yeah, she was just not right in her mind. And I was scared, because normally I would have gone, okay, well, I have to take her to the hospital or to the vet to get her looked at. But now it's like, well, there's a danger attached to that. And if I go to the hospital or the vet with her, then I'm risking exposing her and myself or my partner, whoever takes her, to this virus, and then bringing it back into the home and exposing the other person to it. You know, if, heaven forbid, one of us or both of us is infected and we don't know it yet, then we risk infecting whoever we come into contact with this without knowing. So we were kind of like paralyzed, just waiting to see what would happen, to see if we needed to take this risk or not. Because, you know, obviously we would take this risk if it was necessary, because we love our dog to bits. But if it wasn't, then we didn't want to. And luckily, yesterday she was a little better. And then today she's been amazing. So amazing, like incredible. So we've had a lovely day together today, and we've even played, and I haven't played with her in a very long time. So that's been an absolute gift. And I feel very reassured by that. And we made the right decision, I think. But only time will tell, but it's a worry moving forwards because of the nature of her health. And these things go on and on and on, these fears about certain, I have no control over so many things now that I needed to have control over in order to keep us all well and happy and healthy. And then the last phase is acceptance. Acceptance. That's what we all want. That is the thing that we are striving towards. Acceptance. Acceptance isn't denial. Acceptance means, yes, you know what's going on. You're aware of it. Being responsible. But you're okay with it. You're like, okay, I can make the best of this. I can find the gold within the sand. And I can spin a new future. And that's what we're aiming for. And that's what I was beating myself up for not having had. I don't have acceptance about this, really. I might maybe have 2-second, 3-second blips of acceptance, maybe after I've listened to a really inspiring podcast, or I've just done a new yoga routine. Maybe I have a bit of acceptance then. Maybe at 8 o'clock at night when we go to the balcony and we clap, and then we have music played to us by the local police. Maybe I have a bit of acceptance then. Or maybe not. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes that's too real for me and it triggers me and sets me off, and then the grief just fires up all over again. But yeah, acceptance is what we're aiming for. And I own I've been struggling with finding acceptance. And I haven't been accepting myself. I haven't been accepting that this is a personal journey. It's individual to each one of us. And we're all going to go through these stages of grief differently and at different speeds. And some of us will travel through them in a linear way, and others will dip in and out and backwards and forwards all over the place. And most people will do that, I think. So these are difficult times. These are different times. But there is potential for growth and beauty and community and rebirth, I think, if we embrace it, if we can dive deep. And the trick is to not push back against these feelings, to not try to suppress them, not deny them. They're real feelings, they need to be felt, and they need to be transmuted. Otherwise they will get stuck inside, and they will weaken us, and they will sicken us, and they will block us, and this will take away our light. So don't beat yourself up if you are feeling emotional right now. Don't beat yourself up if you feel like screaming at the pillow and beating it up, or weeping into a blanket, or pushing your mind, body and soul into Netflix and binge watching for 3 hours, or running up and down on the spot and having a complete hissy-tissy fit. It's okay. Let it out. Let it out in whatever way you can, where it is the least harmful to other people. So either let it out on your own, or phone a friend, or creep up to your nearest and dearest and bury yourself in their arms. Where possible, share what you're feeling. Share it with someone who can hold space for you and comfort you. And if it's too much for them, because it may well be, because we are all going through this collectively, and so maybe it is a little hard for people to hold space for each other right now, then write a journal. Write in your journal and make your journal your new best friend. Or find a teddy bear, or dress up a pillow and make it into a teddy bear or a doll, and talk to that. Just get it out. Get it off your chest. Share these emotions. The more you purge them, the less powerful they will be, and the more cleansing and healing can come through you. And I think that is the key here, is to embrace this time and to use the virus and the situation that is triggering you, that is triggering all of these emotions in you, as the motivation to look deeper into what is still stuck in you and to do the shadow work. Because the emotions that are being triggered by the corona are not just about corona. They are about the things that are inside you still that you have not healed yet. And it's shining a light upon these things. What do I need to heal? Well, I have a lot of grief. This is what I've realized. Not just about corona, but about what I have lost in my life over the course of my life, and especially the last 5 years. And I thought I was working through that grief and processing it. And what this situation has made me realize is no. I was, but not enough. And there's still so much more that needs to come out. And I need to just let it out and not be scared of it and not suppress it. So what do you need to let out? What do you need to air? What do you need to release? Focus on that. Work towards that. And see how you feel. I wish you much love and much light and much comfort. And please know that I am here. If you need to speak to anybody, if you need someone to hold space for you during this time, check out my website, lemonrosepetals.com, for information on how to contact me and reach out. I am here to help, and I would love to help. Take care. Bye.